Mikey P.
This will be an easy one.
Yeah.
Mikey P is one of the greatest guys on the face of the earth.
He is.
Have you ever seen the guy not happy?
No, never.
No.
Like literally never.
Yeah.
He's unbelievable, man.
I know.
He sends me texts that are just like, they just make me laugh every single time he's got something to say about it. It's just incredible.
It's cool because we had Mike on the podcast
Yep.
a little bit earlier when we kind of first started doing this. We had him on.
Yep.
But you actually had a chance to sit down with him a little bit prior to that and
Yep.
go through like a really almost like a deep dive kind of one-on-one conversation with him about a ton of stuff because Mike's got a vast amount of experience. Just give everybody kind of a little heads up.
I think, as we continue to put more content out like this and we continue to build up the app, there's going to be a lot more stuff we're going to share that's not necessarily about hunting, but it's also about life lessons. It's also about kind of business. I've always looked at Mike as a big mentor and a big brother to me, and we get into what it's like to build a business, lose the business, rebuild a business, and what it takes to be at the bottom of the valley, and there's no shortcuts. We have a really good conversation around just the mental state you have to be in and how grateful every single day is to just be here. So there's a really interesting story about that. And then we really touch base on, he's on the quest for the North American 29, but he didn't really know that he was on the quest for the North American 29, right? Mike, he hunts everywhere. Mm-hmm. He hunts everything. And then one day he said, I think I have 27 of 29.
Yep.
And it's just an amazing kind of journey. So we get into some really fun stories about him on his quest for the North American 29. But I got to tell you, it's Mike, so it's going to be entertaining.
See, I think that story right there alone is just, that exemplifies who he is because he's not doing it for the trophy.
Oh,
you know what I mean? He went on 27 or whatever he went on. He went on those for the journey.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden one day was like, damn, you know what?
Yeah.
I think I'm getting close to whatever that accolade,
Yep.
Because when you start to get into some of the guys that hunt all over the world, that becomes a thing, right? You start to, how many sheep do you have? How many this do you have? For him, he was just doing the journey. Like, I want to have all these experiences and then happen to go, well, damn, I think I'm getting there.
And I think that's more impressive from my perspective
Mm-hmm.
is you don't have a guy who has a budget to do it. Mm-hmm. He just did it over the course of a couple decades and looked back and said, damn, I think I'm pretty close here. In the fact that he didn't realize it until a couple years ago. He's just a rarity these days, I think, in our space where you have really an egoless human being that wants just to bring stories and joy to people and bring them along on his journey. I think that's why he's just such a special dude.
Yeah.
Well, he knows what it's like to have it all. He knows what it's like to lose it all. He knows what it's like to build it, and he just has great insight. And you make a great point because he has 2 left in the North American 29, and one of them is a Shiras Moose. And he actually had the opportunity to shoot a Shiras Moose, but it was a small one. And he said, I'm just not going to do that for a record book.
Yeah.
And so that just goes to show you what kind of guy he is. And he's on the quest this fall for his grizzly. I just got a notification that he just told me he's headed up to Alaska 1 week before we get there. He's going up to do caribou and hopefully get his grizzly. So that'll be a big one.
Honestly, we got to start getting a camera with him in some way, shape, or form. Just to bring his stories, because of like what you get with Mike, you get you get a look at the outdoors that you don't often see. Because for us on Dropped in Alaska, we're trying to survive. We're trying to do. For him, man, he's just out there I'm just here for the ride.
Well,
So
I'll
he's
tell
like
you
the
what,
Matthew McConaughey of hunting.
That's a good point.
I'll tell you what, it'll be interesting.
Right. You know what I mean?
We should have a conversation with him because every single hunt he's been on, he's written an entire story around. It would be an amazing blogs to start to add to what we're doing.
Would be.
And I've read them all he sent me so many of them, and they are he is an incredible writer, and he just really puts emotion into it, and he tells it from his point of view, and it's really good. So
what I'd love to do is we could always ask him, but bring him into the studio and let's just have him read them.
Yeah.
What better way to give people an inside look into the mind of a man than to just have him sit down and read his journal?
It's a good call.
What an awesome deal. I'd sign up for it.
Yeah, that's right.
There it is, man. There it is for sure. Well, it was a fun interview. This is another Wilder Minds interview with Mike Passaglia, my big brother, my mentor, and the man, the myth, the legend. Enjoy.
Wherever your adventure takes you, count on Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's to make it memorable. From the timberline to the campsites to the lake and the range, get your family outfitted with the right gear. With premium brands like Worldwide Sportsman, Ascend, Instinct, Redhead, and Natural Reflections, they've got the apparel and the gear to make it the best adventure ever. Stop by today for a one-of-a-kind shopping experience in-store or online at BassPro.com and Cabela's.com. See for yourself at Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's stores. Your adventure starts here. All right, let's talk about beer for a second. You ever notice there's a big difference between Busch Light drinkers and other beer drinkers? I like to say we live on the wild side. You know, a guy with a Busch Light in his hand, he's a man of the people. He's out there in the wild every day. He's in the trenches smashing bushies with a smile on his face. You know why? Because he doesn't care. He's not looking for a soulmate. He just needs something to wash that damn jerky down. And he's got himself a 12-pack of Freedom in a can. And when that can gets cracked, it's like opening a door to a whole different world. It's just a vibe. And if you haven't felt it, you should. So go grab yourself a case of bushies, give them a rip, and take a walk on the wild side. You've got things that matter. Memories, heirlooms, documents, firearms. And we all know that life is unpredictable. At Winchester Safes, they make sure life's unpredictable moments don't take those things from you. They use state-of-the-art methods that refuse to sacrifice quality. They put everything they have into their products, offering proven protection and peace of mind. There's only one safe company worthy of the title, the American Legend, and that's Winchester Safes. Follow at Winchester Safes or learn more on winchestersafes.com.
My friends from high school. Here's to the small towns, all American just like you. Here's to my family, to the place I was born and raised. Where living the good life, baby, is there any other way? Here it is now.
Buddy, love
Cheers.
you,
Cheers, man.
All right,
here we go. Yes, sir. Here's
wow,
to you.
that's smooth.
It is. Ooh. Here's to you. All right, everybody. Welcome to the Be Alive podcast, where we talk about all things be alive. That's basically what it is. And that's a lot. So stay tuned, because we're just getting a rhythm on this thing. This is an exciting week for me. I've got a very, very special guest coming on, Mr. Mike Passaglia. Mike is a man of many, many titles. Most importantly, he is an entrepreneur, he is a mentor of mine, and a big brother. So we've known each other for many, many years. We get a chance to turkey hunt together, and we thought, why not? It's time to actually sit down and bring our conversations to the world, because they are something. So, Mr. Mike Passaglia.
Thank you, Chris. Honored to be here and spend some time in chat. And as you said, I think the world deserves this. Yeah. I think they've really been missing out.
I'll tell you what, man, we have had some conversations that are just, they're life-changing, they're altering, that we've laughed, cried, you name it. We've been together for a long time, and it started out just as friends. And so for everybody that's kind of wondering, okay, what's going on here? Who is Mike? He's not just one of my best friends. Again, he's a mentor of mine. So through business, and we'll get a little bit into that. Mike has an extensive background in entrepreneurship. You've done some incredible things in the insurance industry and others, which we'll get into. But our common bond is, I was a guide and he was the hunter. And we started out together in the woods, and that was back in 2006, if you can believe it.
Yeah.
Like, Kylie was born in October. I met you in January of that year.
I think she was conceived when we met.
I think it was. She was born in 10/06, and I met you in January. In Reno. Yep. And pretty much that she was there. So that's exactly what happened.
Feel like I was a part of that. Not like that.
Well, you were a part of it, not that night, though.
Of course, no.
We'll clarify that. Not that night. But yes, that week is the first time we ever met. And that's a funny story in itself. Like, just the first time we ever met. Because I had just left the ranch that I was working at. I was guiding, and we went into family business, and then we had another ranch. We were outfitting at the time, and I was like, the business side of me, I was like spot and stalk through the entire SCI convention looking for people that were getting turned away, maybe because another outfitter was booked. And I saw you and your beautiful wife, Angelica, and you guys walked away, and I kind of appeared. Hello, sir.
Yes, you did.
You look like you were looking for a whitetail hunt.
You popped out like the little hotel travel guy in the commercial. Like, here I am.
Here I am. So then I said, come on over. Like, check out the booth. And you guys came over, and we just hit it up right away. We had some fun and just started laughing. And I thought, this is going to be a really fun hunt. And then lo and behold, now it's 2024, and we've been on hundreds of adventures together over the years, and so many stories of the outdoors, and I would say that bond of being out there is what has really kept us together.
It is. It's like 20 years ago yesterday, and for me, you mentioned entrepreneurship. I was honored to serve our country from '84 to '89 in the U.S. Navy, Haze, Gray, and Underway. Great experience, so many different countries, just an honor. And then when it was done, it was time to get out. Yeah. And you think about what you do next. And I actually ended up in the insurance industry more because I needed to make money. And what I found is you end up actually doing what I love, which is serving people.
Yeah.
You're solving problems for them based on their needs, and you're actually serving, and you're getting paid to do it. And so the ride was great, and it just opened up so many other things. I mean, me being the kid growing up hunting, obviously, as you did, and being the kid who raced the dog to the duck, and having my little Ducks Unlimited waterfowl identification book, and I'd get to the bird the rare time I beat the dog to the bird, which I think Dad held the dog back. I'd get out there and just soaked, but I'd pick up the bird, and I'd see the rust on the wings, and I'd look at the book, and it's a gadwall, right? Yeah. So you start there, and it's just ingrained in you, and my success in the insurance industry and in some other things opened up additional hunting opportunities. Yep. And I remember that SCI show like it was yesterday with you. Yep. I was looking to hunt a whitetail. Yep. And where I come from out west, we just don't have whitetails.
Exactly.
And I thought it'd be cool, and I had the means to do it. Yep. And I was on a mission with Ange, and ultimately went to an outfitter that we had heard of.
Yep.
And the guy was super nice, said, we're booked a couple of years out. I said, well, I want to go this year.
Yep.
And unbeknownst to me, you were somewhere around there peeking over the top. And so I walked away, and you were right on my shoulder like, hello.
Hello, sir.
And the rest, as they say, was history. Chris, I can't put into words how proud I am of your success the amazing things you've done, and to be along to observe that ride. And I remember as if it was yesterday when we met.
Yeah.
There are friends you have, a select few that you could hold in your hand. Mm-hmm. And a couple of them might be from grade school, that you just bond with and you share, you go through life with. Some maybe college. You were that instant friend. We could finish each other's sentences. Oh, yeah. It was fun. Brother from another mother. I mean, you picked a cliche. That was it. And it hasn't let up.
No, it hasn't.
Since, buddy.
It hasn't. Well, I appreciate that, man. I think I've learned a lot from you. I think I meant that earlier when I said big brother, because it really is. I'm the oldest of the three brothers, and then I feel like you've been that older brother for me.
Is that what you're saying? I'm older than you?
You are older than me. Let's be honest. And I get to learn all these things that you did in the 1900s before I did. So I get a chance to learn about that stuff. But no, I think, even when you came on hunts and, I was your guide for a little bit and we had that friendship, it was always asking questions, and you were always, just gracious enough to be that mentor, right? And it was always like, explain to me this industry, tell me about these things. I was always curious, but we would sit in the blind and we would just have these deep conversations about life in general and where we're going to go and all these things. And it really did. It started to help me shape where I wanted to go. And throughout life, there's always those things where you have this disconnect. So, a couple of years, a lot of things were happening. You were in business. You had a lot of stuff going on. We were in a situation in business, all these things.
You died.
I died. That was true.
That kind of.
That threw a bit. I died on your birthday.
On my birthday.
Yeah, so happy birthday. I died on your birthday.
Great.
But I came back. That was your present.
I'm still pissed you didn't call me, but I'll get over it.
I think that was exactly right. It was like, boy, I can't believe it didn't call me this year. And I was like, well, I've been dead for 2 weeks. But
listen, we live in a world where there are no excuses, my friend.
This is true.
That's how you succeed.
See, that's the mentor in you, giving me everything, and I expect that from you. So, but it was like, you mentioned it earlier, just like friends, you can just pick it right back up, right? So after I did come back to life and started to heal again and all those things, it was like, as soon as we saw each other, it was like we were right back together, and it's been that friendship ever since. And we share some certain things like Napa Valley, a love for wine. You are way better at it than I am. We're going to do a guest pour decisions while you're here because you have to.
Honored.
And then hunting, right? And it's been crazy, I guess, turkey hunting specifically. Like, you and I have been on this mission. I mean, I'll go to California, you come to Michigan, and we just have so much. It's not even about the bird itself. It's about, like, you and I putting 200 miles on the truck and just talking the whole time, and then eventually we end up, shooting a bird.
Well, in all fairness, it's always about the bird with you because you always find a way to get me one. Now, when you came to California, it was definitely not about the bird.
I'm still over in California. They got these walnut walkers out there that I have yet to figure out. But here in Michigan, we got these Easterns, and we've got them down pat. So it's been fun.
How about South Dakota too?
Oh my goodness!
I mean, if we had pictures of that, there's some great pictures of
South Dakota. We filled a rental car in one, just full, chock full, and the birds I think are down in the state now because after that hunt. I mean, that was Jason, Casey, myself. That was an incredible adventure we went on in South Dakota.
Yeah.
And that was a place you had a connection on, and it was like, yeah, we're going, and we had never killed those kind of birds before, and now lo and behold we did. So amazing time. Going back to the turkey hunt for just a second, back when we first met, I want to tell everybody a brief story. We had this, I looked different, like a lot different, right? So
yeah.
So I was rolling around about 240, 245 at that point.
You were very shapely.
I was very shapely, yes. And at the time, I had a goatee. And I was very resemblant at the time of Mr. Jack Black. That's what you always said.
You were Nacho Libre. Everything was Nacho
Libre.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Nacho. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. So Nacho Libre, Mike was just calling me Nacho. Like, I think.
And the movie was popular.
It was.
I mean, going back 20 years.
It was. It's going back 20 years. We had Nacho Libre, and Mike just is calling me Nacho now, like all the time.
But look. If you really think Jack Black and you think back to then, you can see it.
School of Rock.
You don't even have to start doing him, and then it makes it worse.
Yeah,
like it's totally him.
There's the Nacho.
These are my stretchy pants.
Nacho Libre was very popular back then. Yes. So what happened was when I was doing the guiding thing and running that operation, we would print out a photo and we would give it to the client. In this case, was yours. And we would give it to them, and that would be kind of like their take-home, as well as many other things, right?
Beautiful photos, too.
Like
all kidding aside, you put the fall colors in. Yeah. Unbelievable photography.
We love to take that, and then that's something that, again, from a photo perspective, that's something you're always going to have. You can show off the deer that you've taken, but the memory and the photo and what was there. So we'd always take this photo, and we had a great spot with the fall colors. And I put a little Easter egg in Mike's photo. And I photoshopped Nacho Libre behind a tree in this photo. And
Tiny.
Okay. And I never said a word.
Peeking around the tree.
Yeah, never said a word. And how long do you think you went before you actually saw Nacho Libre?
Months.
As
long as you let it go. Because I was like, dude, those are the best pictures. Wow, thanks, man. You just made the best trip even better. Oh my goodness, this is so great. And finally, I think you got to a point where you're like, okay, he's blind.
Yeah.
But I wasn't. You put him so discreetly, like peeking around the tree. And so you're like, have you looked closely at the picture? I'm like, yeah, I've looked at every side of it. That's a gorgeous deer and the fall colors. Have you looked closely at the tree? I'm like, oh no, he did something.
Yeah.
And it took me about 5 minutes from there to find it. And it took me about 5 hours to stop laughing. I mean, it was like 1,000 sit-ups easy.
Oh my gosh. So that started this trend with these Easter eggs. And now Mike, he goes on these world tours to all these incredible places. And he'll send me these pictures of like, hey, this is where I'm at. Here's one from Stonehenge. And so, of course, I'm going to go ahead, and that looked like a great roost tree right there. So there's Mike in Stonehenge, and there is a Photoshop turkey on top of Stonehenge, one of a kind. And then recently, Mike was just in the Colosseum in Rome.
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago. And he said, hey, check this out. Sends me a picture. Well, framed it up perfectly, and there's a goblin turkey on top of the Colosseum in Rome.
And it's... It speaks to your artistic endeavor and brilliance, but you know what it really speaks to me, Chris, is that we're kindred spirits. It's the brother from another thing.
Oh, for sure.
It's I mean, it's just so wonderful and so rare, and it's born of the outdoors.
Yeah,
for starters,
it
you
is.
know,
It
and
is.
And that's a really cool part of it. But the fact that I'm at Stonehenge with Ange, and that was her bucket list, and we're having the greatest time, and we're looking at all these rocks stacked up and listening to the theories, and I'm taking pictures of them all, and I see that one, and I'm thinking, all right, this is missing something.
Yep.
Let me just try this. And from England,
Yep.
6 hours time difference, I shoot a picture and I text you, and I'm like, I feel like this is missing something. And within 2 hours, boom, there's that. And it was so funny when I'm in the Coliseum, just, pop into my head, and I'm thinking, oh, this is perfect.
Yeah.
And you just know.
Oh, yeah. You
know?
sent me the picture, and it was framed up, and I go, oh, this is getting the turkey.
And I would say, to anyone, everyone has that person or a very select handful of those people. And life is so short.
Yeah.
We tend to think it's tedious or long, but it's so short.
Yeah.
And we don't. I would just tell everyone, look, however much time you think you spend connecting with those people and just sending random things, spend more.
Yeah.
Because there's never a bad day when I send something to Chris Keefer. There's never a bad moment when I interact with Chris Keefer because of the things we do and where we are.
Yeah.
And I know lots of people have that same thing, and we don't spend enough time tapping into that enough for the soul and the heart.
I agree, man. I think it's, life is busy now in the way that it's such a fast-paced world. Just to slow down and send a text. I mean, it goes, I think it cuts both ways too, because receiving one like that can really lighten the mood from maybe a shitty day, right? It's just like, and I see that picture from Rome and I go, okay. And whatever I had, now I'm in a moment and I'm doing the Photoshop, but I'm laughing the whole time. So it's changed my demeanor. And I think that means so much. I think, like you said, there's a lot of people out there that may have that. Every now and then it's good to just reach out and just go, hey, how you doing? Or send a stupid picture that is funny, that makes somebody's day with no caption. Just send it and just leave it alone. Yeah. And I think the other thing is busy people like yourself and my, if you don't write me back, I know that you're going to, but I also know you're busy.
Sure.
So you respect that too. If I don't write back within 5 minutes, I'm not angry at you. I just know you saw it and I know, and then guess what? A day or two later, something comes through and we're right back. It's like, I understand that is the case. Yeah. You're busy, I'm busy, but we're still in that kind of world where we can connect.
Of course.
I think that's important.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
I mean, I always get right back to you, but I get what you're saying, and I forgive you.
So I'm busy, and actually, yeah, you're right, and you always fire back.
I travel the world and send pictures.
Well, that's all you do.
Respond.
So now I want to switch places with you because that's an amazing deal. So let's back up for a second and let's set the stage. Sure. So, come from California, unfortunately for you, and nothing against
Northern.
California. Okay, good. Let's break that down. Northern California, which is fine, so that's basically childhood's in California and the great outdoors comes in pretty early. right? Like
Very.
you're loving the great outdoors out of the gate. You mentioned duck hunting and stuff out there. I mean, is that how you kind of got into the outdoors and what you love to do at that age?
Yeah, and my dad and my mom were incredibly supportive. They went separate ways when I was about 8, but they both remained supportive. And I think I was out hunting in the womb. And my parents, I think Dad was 22, Mom was 20, but that is where it all started. And interestingly enough, when you grow up in a divorced family, people call it a broken family. I don't agree with that at all. But you relocate. So I was actually fortunate to live in all parts of the state. So we lived in Tahoe for a couple years, and ironically, I spent a lot of time in the mountains, and I really got into skiing. And then my mom, we moved down to Southern California, and I see now why, but I got into surfing, and that's what I did. So I'd get up pre-dawn, ride my beach cruiser with the surfboard on the back with a couple buddies down to the beach, and I'd surf until about 9, and then go back home and do whatever, right? But looking back now, what I realize is if you think about Tahoe and skiing and the mountains, it's the outdoors.
Yeah, it was the outdoors.
If you go to Southern California, the ocean is the outdoors.
Yeah.
So growing up, in the Bay Area and going into Sacramento and all that farmland, all the ducks and everything else, and growing up in the outdoors hunting from birth, when I was away from it, I found that I still sought the outdoors. And I think no matter where you are or where you're located or get whatever position you get put into, there's outdoors everywhere. And you can always find them if it's in your heart or if it's in your soul.
Yeah, I think the outdoors is really the great unifier. It's one of those things that we can all agree somehow is going to attract us to do something fun, right? Like I just think whether it's surfing, skiing, all the things, and there's a lot of be alive moments that happen, and it's basically in the outdoors because it's a place that we can rely on. It's a place that we can go and just forget about things. And as a kid, I assume having all that around you, you're just kind of drawn in a direction, right? And then it stays with you the rest of your life.
Yeah, I think with many things, if you're introduced to them, they either become a passion or an afterthought, right? And so for me, hunting the outdoors was a passion. And I eventually, when I was old enough, went back. Dad had moved to Yuba City. You've been to that wonderful place.
Oh, yes, I've been there.
It's the heart of the Pacific Flyway. People wouldn't believe how many ducks and geese. California has all 3 species of elk. We have the black-tailed deer, the mule deer. We have bears. We have, and then the waterfowl are just abundant. Right?
Yeah, it's unbelievable. Still, they don't have turkeys apparently, but they have the rest of everything there. They don't have turkeys.
I wish I had the picture for them to put up of the one I took you to get that I got the day you left.
Yeah, the day I left.
Sunny. Yeah. When it got sunny again.
Yeah, it rained one time in California in the past 3 years. It was the day I was there hunting turkeys. And I leave, and Mike sends me a picture of the turkey 20 minutes after I had boarded my plane.
Beautiful Tom.
Yeah. Oh, he's great. Yeah, he's wonderful. It's a great picture. I'll mount him in one of your adventures. No, I use him as a picture. So you get into hunting and outdoors at an early age, and like you said, again, you went in the Navy, which is incredible. You spend time there in the military. There's a lot of funny stories that I've heard over the years of that we'd probably save for episode 2.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, definitely. But the amazing time you had there. So you get out and you get in, like you said, you get into the insurance industry and you start. When does the entrepreneur bug bite you? Like, when does that happen? Because I know you worked a little bit for some other people, but you really have the spirit of an entrepreneur. Like, when did that bite you?
So if I were to answer your question with a question, because I think we'd give the same answer, when did it bite you? Birth.
Yeah, I was going to say.
You're born with it.
I was just going to say, I think I've always had it.
You do.
Okay.
You just have it, right? You have that drive, whether it's to get up that next mountain, whether it's to go one more day, whether it's to climb back on that horse because you just want to get to that ram or, whatever it is. I think that internal drive, and I seek to find ways to communicate with people now because everybody has it inside them.
Yeah.
And I think so many people out there just don't know yet that they do.
Yeah.
And it starts with finding a passion rather than just trying to get by and then letting it go, right? And in that, I think there's that inert drive that.
So that's a great point. I want to kind of just spend some time on for a second. I think is really interesting. I see in a lot of the kids and the younger business crowd, you know, today with Instagram, everyone thinks you can be a millionaire at the age of 20, all the things because they see a half of a quarter of a percentage of a whatever, right?
Aren't they all?
Yeah, they're all, you know, and they all live the glorious life. But they think that that's going to happen right away. And then and if they don't, they're mad or they're distraught about the fact that they're not at the age of 2022. Do you think having a passion such as hunting or the outdoors or something and the ability to put all the focus in that starts to bring out the traits of an entrepreneur? Like, you know what I mean? If the traits that we have, like you mentioned, go to the next peak, climb the next mountain, learn the patience of sitting in the woods, learn those things, do you think that correlates over and eventually kind of translates into what is now our careers because we both started out in the outdoors?
I do. I think it can. I mean, the simple fact is, I think that some people are born able to run a 4.340, and some, no matter how hard they work at it, aren't going to run better than a 4.6, right?
Yeah.
But you can get from a 5 flat to a 4.6. So, for everyone, I think it's there at some level.
Yeah.
I do think, this will probably come across as arrogant, but it's not meant to be. I do think that you and I we run 4.340s in life.
Yeah.
And in just passion and desire, we pour ourselves. It's what I see in you that I like so much and like to be around and feed off of.
Yeah.
It's just that endless drive and that I'll find a way and let's go and always thinking of the next thing and bringing so many others along.
Yeah.
It's just cool.
Yeah, that's a fun part. And to be clear, I run probably about a 7.40, 7.2 maybe, because I've got a metal leg.
I don't run at all anymore, so that's fine. Yeah,
Remember I died once. I have a metal leg.
Yeah, I do. I remember I thought you had a peg leg on that hunt after you were brought back, and a peeper, as I recall.
Well, I had the big peeper.
You had the eye.
Yeah, so my eye, I fractured my orbital bone, and Mike, in all of his graciousness, in all of his graciousness, would say, "Hey, can you do the big peeper to me?" And so I would just like go like that to him, like sitting, in places, and it would be like we'd just both lose it as soon as I did the big eye. So because I couldn't squint, and I still can't to this day on the left eye. So yeah.
No, and how about Inception, Conception?
Oh my gosh.
We would get going in that deer blind we'd sit in over there back in the day. We'd be up there, and we would start laughing, whether it was you and I and Ange, you and I and my dad. It didn't matter. You and I.
Yeah.
Sometimes it would start with just a look.
Oh yeah, that's all it had to be.
And that was it.
Yeah.
But we would get to laughing, and you'd have to shut the windows.
Yes.
Because you just couldn't stop.
Oh,
laughing.
There's no way. I mean, we've been in tears before, and half the time, 20 minutes in, I don't know what we're laughing at. I don't know what started it. I just know that we're laughing, and then all of a sudden, like you said, it's 20 minutes gone by, and we're still laughing.
But it's such a great ride, man.
It is. It's a great ride. So backing up to what you talked about, I agree. I think it's amazing for the outdoors, and from an early age, I think there is kind of this entrepreneurial bug that's implanted in you, and I think it's okay to find out. I get a lot of questions like, when is it okay? Like, when do you find out you have it, and when do you know you don't? And I guess the answer that I always think about is like, it's okay if you find out you don't, right? Like, some people think they do, and they don't realize what it really takes. Like, and then once they do it, it's okay to be like, it's just not what I'm cut out for, because it does take that extra drive, that extra over the mountain, that extra, when everyone leaves at 5, it's 9 before you leave. It's the things that are unseen, I think, is what maybe sets apart a successful entrepreneur.
It is. I completely agree with that. And you pay your dues. When I came into the industry, I worked for an organization. Yep. I was told where to be, what to do, how to do it, where to go, right? Yep. I found the fun in solving the needs of the people and taking care of people.
Yep.
But, you have to pay your dues. And I think it's tough on the younger generation today because of social media and all those things. Because what you don't post is what I call day 9. It's when you're quitting.
Yeah.
And so everybody thinks that everybody's crushing it. And I see so many younger people today that are saying, well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to build my own company. Mm-hmm. Which one? Well, I don't know. Well, how? Not sure, but I'm going to do it, right? Because I see it. It doesn't work that way. Yeah. the beauty of being young is you have a lot of time.
Correct.
And you should spend that time learning from others who are further along and emulating their good behavior. And when you identify traits of theirs that you don't like, then just be a better them.
Yeah.
Right? And network and connect. And it doesn't matter what business you're in or what you do, but if you're going to run your own company, if you're going to build your own thing, you better have a passion for it or find the passion in it, because if you don't, it's not going to work.
You're cooked.
Sure.
Yeah, you're cooked. And I agree with that. So time is a really big thing too, because, you know, if you think back to our story, in 2006, I was a deer guide at a ranch.
Yeah, but you had a vision.
But the idea is that was still almost 17 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
You know, 18 years ago, I was a deer guide at a ranch. And so time, I would have never predicted in 2006 that I would be in the position I am today with the shows and the CEO Be Alive, all the things that come with that. But that's 17 years. And what a lot of people think, they see it today on social media and they go, well, I just want to do that. But it's been 17 years of grinding every single day without the vacations, without the party, without the stuff in the beginning. But everyone now just sees 17 years in and goes, that's what I want to do. And
Sure.
I'm like, well, then take 17 years to do exactly what I did, or yourself or other entrepreneurs. Like, they see that instant gratification is what we're so used to. And that's just not the case in today's world, right?
It's never been the case, in my opinion, right?
Yeah.
And it's such a great point, because what we've done and owned businesses in is so different.
Yeah.
And yet, watch this. I can go back 15, 20 years and tell you, young people would walk in and I'd say, so, you know, what are you looking to do? What are your goals? They say, well, I want to sit where you're sitting. I want to be you.
Yeah.
I'm going to be you.
Yeah.
I'm like, great. And here's all it takes.
Yeah.
Quit a couple times
Yeah.
and tell yourself quitting's the worst thing you could do, and re-engage, as painful as it is, and stick it out because you believe in it.
Yep.
If you can make it through that. Oh, by the way, when you're building a company of your own, be sure not to take any paycheck for yourself for at least 2 years. And if things are tough enough to make sure you make payroll, make sure you go out and get at least $75,000 to $100,000 to get through the first quarter of next year, because you believe you're about to turn that corner. So yeah, as long as you're willing to do all that, it's going to be a piece of cake for you.
Yes, a piece of cake. And at the end of it, be prepared to lose it all and be okay with it. Like, because the journey was worth it for guys and gals that are out there that are chasing it. Like, and again, I always say this to the hockey team, the Chargers, the team that I coach with my brothers, is there's no winning and losing. There's winning and learning. And I think that's a big thing. I have learned so much from losing. Like, people are like, I hate to lose. Well, I do too, but at the same time, like, I've learned so much from losing. Like, every single time I lose, I'm like, well, what did I learn on that one? What did I learn on that one? And so the people that do say, I want to be there, I want to be in that chair, I want to be this, I want to be that. Okay. And I did too. But it was, again, 17, 18, 19 years, in some cases, a career of wanting to get it done, doing the extra mile, prepared to lose it all the things you just mentioned. Don't pay yourself.
Chris, you lost your life.
Yeah, dying once.
You don't lose more than your life, man.
Yeah, die once and come back, which is fine. You know, I mean, I was blessed to come back, and I knew at that moment, like, I was shook. Like, that was where I was really shook. I had a 6-month-old baby, and I was dead. And I'm like, what happened if I really would have died? Like, I left that 6-month-old baby, and I was doing these things. I was not living that life. I was like, I didn't prepare for any of this. And that's when I was like, done, time to be alive.
Well, think about this, though. And I look at it from an outsider's point of view, loving you to death. You did die.
Yeah,
and
did.
Through death, you had an amazing awakening.
Yeah.
And however that went, I do believe in divine intervention.
Oh, yeah.
I like to say that I've driven the car my whole life, right? Yeah. And the funny thing is, if I look back, I've been in the back seat the whole time.
Yeah.
And at this point in life, I relish it.
Yeah.
You know, I want to go back and say something about the younger folks and about people that say, I want to be you and things like that. Yeah. Here's one thing I do know. From where I came from, and we always lived life and enjoyed life, but we really didn't have much, if anything at all. But you just don't know when, you have what you have, and that's it. So it doesn't matter how little it is. You still find joy in everything. But to be able to do what I've done financially and in the industry, I know this for a fact. If I can do it, knowing how I did it, anyone can.
Yeah.
And so when people come to me, what I pour myself into most for them is I really try and impress upon them, look at, if I did it, so can you.
Yes.
But there's no shortcut.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's the mistake people make. Is
Such a good point.
They want the shortcut, and it's not there.
It is such a good point. It goes back to that instant gratification world of something happens, it's on social media, I see somebody that's already successful, and I want it. There is absolutely zero shortcut.
No.
During those times when I was down and obviously had died and trying to figure that out, back to your awakening, there was a moment, and I very rarely share the story, if ever. I've never shared it on here, but there was a moment where I had a golf cart, and as you know, I drove around that golf cart like Van Wilder. I had the V-dub sticker on the front, and I was like, you know, I had the horn, and I was like, yeah, it was Van Wilder, right? So I was like Nacho Libre trying to be Van Wilder, which was a whole dichotomy that did not work.
I think they're going to be in a movie together, actually.
Yeah, the two of them together.
Called I Was a Golf Cart Driver.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's a perfect title. So I was on the ranch, and looking back now, I can say without a shadow of a doubt, I was an asshole at that time. I was trying to figure myself out, but I was also dealing with a lot of stuff. I mean, I just had 11 surgeries. I was dealing with a ton of different stuff from medications and whatever, and I just had lost myself completely. And there was a time where I took the golf cart and I was out on the ranch and I got high centered and I couldn't get off. Well, I couldn't move my leg and I couldn't get off. Well, there was a radio, and I had a radio, and I was calling on the radio. And you know, my wife, my brother, all the guys, they all had radios, but they actually took the time to be like, just let him sit there. Like, we need a reprieve. And there was such a perspective moment for me, and I think it's shaped me since, to take perspective as something to look into. I looked at the perspective and said, okay, I can either be the guy that sits here that people want a reprieve from and let me sit in the middle of the woods. I sat there for 4.5 hours. Or
I'm surprised they didn't leave you longer back then.
Oh, back then it was getting dark. That's the only reason they came for me. And they knew that they were about to deal with a wrath at that point. Or I can change everything about my perspective and who I am and what I'm doing, and those people would have came on the first time that I asked them to help me. And I think it was like one of those introspective moments that I was like, wow, I got a lot to learn. And from there, the positive perspective, and I think you're this way, and this is something I admire in you. Everything has a positive perspective. Like, I look at it in, okay, this is the worst thing that's happened. The flight's canceled. Let's go to the bar and wait for the next flight. What are we going to do? Positive perspective. Like, when my life shifted to a positive perspective, I think that everything started to take off. And you can easily get caught in the negativity.
Oh.
Easily get caught in the negative perspective.
More today than ever.
Yeah.
With everything out there.
Yeah.
And, oh my gosh, yeah. You think about, I learned from the service, from the Navy, obviously, hurry up and wait, right? So you get some of that. And then my old buddy from Tennessee said, Michael, when you're going somewhere and you get there, well, there you are, right? And so, when these adversity moments happen, you just take these little pieces and you put them in you. This is why, to me, we're such kindred spirits, because you talk about that scenario, and really you were honest, you were humble. You said I was an asshole, and I made 100%. It miserable for everybody around me. Yeah. I sold the company I most recently built from 2011 to 2018. I sold it in 2018. Yep. I sold it to level up. I knew I had taken it as far as I could, but I knew the company I was selling it to excelled in other markets that could serve the consumer base that the distribution I had working with me was already servicing, right? So do more for the clients you currently have. Yep. So everybody wins. And of course, Ange and I had a little bit of a nest egg from that as well. So there's that relief factor as well, right? Yep. I sold to get bigger and compete at a higher level, not to get out. Yeah. And what I didn't realize is when you own your company, you tell everyone what to do, call the shots. You have the vision, and it makes sense, and you're winning. You're getting there. Yeah. When you sell your company, you're not that guy anymore. Yeah. And the hardest transition, and it took me a couple years, and I would apologize to the people that had to deal with me, because I could see what we needed to do and how to do it and how to take all these, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I could take this and this and this and these resources, and man,
yeah.
we're going to, I can do so much for so many and dominate, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I'm like, guys, come on, you know, and just, I mean, I was just a raging a-hole for, I didn't see it, the problem was them. And then, one day, a person who's been with me for almost 20 years, Eric, sat me down. He said, look, I know you better than anyone. I know you mean well. Yeah. I know we would win at the highest level, but, this isn't going to work. Yeah. And I thought to myself, gosh, do you want to be right or do you want to win?
Yeah.
And the moment I realized that there's a trade-off for everything, okay, so when I sell that company, sure, I get some things and I can level up, but I also give up control. Yeah. And the moment that happened, I think that was my 4.5 hours high-centered in a golf cart, and they came and got me. Yeah. And now it's been wonderful for the past 4 years, 5 years. It's fun. Yeah. It's just a blast, right? And you reconnect with that servant mentality. It becomes, how can I help you? Because most of these guys are 44, 45, right? The CEO's 50, so I'm 59, and so at the end of the day, you take on that servant mentality of, how can I help you guys accomplish what you're envisioning, and not tell them what they're doing wrong. Yeah. But it's that same exact thing. A bit of a diatribe, but it's the same exact thing.
Yeah, but it's the journey, right? Like and I think the ability to open your eyes and realize that's happening, and it takes the good people around you, in my opinion.
It's the self-realization.
It's a hard thing to deal with.
Pain.
Yeah.
Full.
Yes.
But there's so much pleasure on the back end.
It really is. And I think once you have that mentality, and I started to see things shift. I started to, see things happen business-wise, all the things that were happening. And then the hard part is staying in that same perspective, because business is on roller coasters. It goes up, it goes down, and you bring it up before. It's like you have to be prepared not to pay yourself, not to do the things. And what people don't see behind the scenes is that, especially when we had at that time such a forward-facing business. Like, we were on television. Immediately, everyone goes, "You're on television."
Right.
Gosh, these guys are millionaires. I wish I was that. I wish I was. Right. I'd have farms all over the planet. It was just like there's a perception that you're trying to battle to be like, look, I'm just trying to build a company just like everybody else, and you have to stay in that positivity, and you do need good people around you. And I think that whole, show me your friends, I'll show you, what kind of person you are kind of situation, I think is a real thing, and surrounding yourself with good people, mentors, people that are willing to be a mentor, like yourself, that's important, because those are the gut checks that you need that entire time. And I recently had a kid, I call him a kid, he's in his 30s now, but a kid reach out to me and say, hey, I have some questions for you. And I was like, wow, when did I become the mentor at that point? But
when did I get old?
Yeah, but it was also very humbling to say, like, okay, like, that's very cool. And I'm here because I knew I couldn't get through it without certain advice that you've given me over the years, and others, but mostly, you sitting in a deer blind laughing, and then how we ended up somehow I took away from that, and then, here we are today.
Well, and that's a great point. You think about the people that come to you and say, well, I want to be you, versus the ones that come to you and say, I have questions. Yeah. Right? Yeah. And of course, we're all drawn to the ones who have questions, because they're the ones that are going to eventually put in the work. Yep. They're gleaning knowledge because they want to evolve into what you've become. Yep. And I would say, what's hardwired in you, I remember you as the deer guide. Yep. And but you took me through the whole operation. You showed me how you managed the herd and all the effort you put into it, and you had amazing passion for that. And then when you talked about when you guys got into the television aspect of it, and you talked about it, and just the knowledge and the passion for that, and then the production side of it, and now Be Alive. It doesn't matter what you've done. I've watched you do for almost 20 years now, or basically 20 years now. Yeah. You approach that mountain with the same drive, desire, and commitment, no matter what country it's in, what mountain it is, how high or low it is, whether it's sandy or shale, it's irrelevant. Yep. You go at it with that way, and I think that's a huge attribute to your success. I really do.
For some of us, the hunt never stops. Grizzly understands that more than most. Rugged, reliable, and built to never back down. Whether you're on the trail, by the water, or deep in the dark timber, Grizzly is by your side. Tough enough to take on the wild and ready for whatever you can throw. Grizzly is committed to products that never let you down. Always on the hunt with Grizzly.
Out here in the wild, precision isn't just a luxury, it's a necessity. Leupold Optics is built on the foundation of American craftsmanship, where every features function first. For over a century now, they've combined dedication and technology with a relentless put-it-to-the-test attitude, creating optics that stand up when everything else stands down. When it matters most, you need the best. That's what you get with Leupold Optics. While other companies out there warranty failure, Leupold guarantees performance for life.
Some call it out on the trail. I like to call it the road less traveled. The kind of place where the going gets tough. That's where Tracker Off-Road comes in. Made for those who won't back down. Tracker Off-Road delivers the hardest working machines with the greatest capability at the strongest value in the industry. Built by those who know what it takes and designed for those who don't turn back. Tracker is dedicated to delivering machines that let you get the most out of your day and your dollar. Ready to take on your next adventure? Go with Tracker Off-Road.
Every shot counts. And when it's time to make it count, you want the best. Winchester Ammunition has built its legacy on a commitment to innovation by continuously pushing what's possible. In the heartland of America, the American legend crafts ammunition that's purpose-built, reliable, accurate, and ready to perform no matter how harsh the conditions. Whether you're hunting or shooting for sport, Winchester will be there.
Well, I appreciate that, man. It takes a team. It takes the right, people, learning, openness, willingness, everything. Someone once told me that everything up until 40 is practice.
I told you that.
I think it was you.
No, it wasn't me.
No, it wasn't you. Everything up until 40 was practice. And it was really interesting in my career that I did a lot up until 40. And I learned a lot from all of that stuff. And now at 45, these last 5 years, I've been able to implement it. So it's really kind of been one of those things that I've oh yeah, now I've been through that. I've lost it. I've done it. I've done that. I've been burned. I've been smoked. I've been on the top. I've been on the bottom. I've been, and so when you do that, it's like, try everything. That's what I encourage all these kids that I talk to today. If you're coming out of high school and you're going, try everything.
But focus and commit.
Correct.
To each thing you pick.
100%. That's the difference.
Don't get paralysis by overanalysis, and don't dip your toe into 7 pools.
Exactly.
Try
it, but that's such a great point. When you're doing it, put 100% focus on that thing. Right?
Absolutely. And you talk about, this is, I apologize in advance. You lost your life. That's loss, right? Life is so precious, and it's such a joy. And but having lost so much of what we did was dependent on homeowners. And so when the mortgage market crashed in 08 and 09, and then you talk about getting burned and having a seedy business partner go through what I feel was a midlife crisis, and I feel sorry for him. But these types of things happen, and you don't think, you can't see that coming.
No.
That one, it blindsides you.
Yep.
And the greatest, because we lost everything.
Mm-hmm.
But Ange and I, when we lost everything, we never lost each other.
Mm-hmm.
We never lost our home, which is our foundation. And most importantly, we never lost our sense of humor.
For sure.
And we always were able to find the joy. And it was probably the greatest thing that ever happened to me, because I realized all that other stuff is fantastic, right? Someone once said to me, money doesn't make you happy, but if you're happy, money makes it even better, right?
Yeah.
And so it's true.
Yeah.
But, it was a great reset, because it took me back to my core, and it made me realize when I grew up with nothing, I was always happy. I found happiness in the outdoors and life in general and around family and interactions with people, new friends, total strangers, right? And so having that happen and being able to carry that forward and then hitting reset and being able to have that look back. If I was going to do it again, what would I do different? Knowing what I know now. I'm incredibly fortunate for having that to have happened to me, because when I reemerged, it was, if I was doing it again knowing what I know now, and it just, everything took off and was so to the nth power. It was incredible. And it opened up the doors to go do all the hunts and everything else that,
oh my gosh.
you know.
No, and seeing you rebuild that, it was inspiring, and seeing you come in and again, it was like at the same time in my life, I was trying to figure out that same thing. How am I going to build this? You were doing it. I'm listening to things. I don't understand the insurance agents, like insurance business itself, but I got to see what you were doing and how you thought about certain things. And I was like, okay, there's more to this than just, oh, this is insurance. And then I saw what you did and was able to kind of go, how can I apply that to this world, and back and forth, and then to see what you've turned it eventually into, and then sold again, sold it to a larger company. It's incredible to watch your journey as well. Now you get to travel around the world, and you do a lot of great, amazing things with, bigger company, the insurance, but you also love to travel and hunt. And I mean, that's the one thing I'm always like, where in the world is Mike? Where in the world is Mike? So
apparently sending the Coliseum picture for a turkey to be put on. Usually you're the first to know where I'm
the first to know where you're at.
If it's a good roost spot.
Yeah, only if there's a good roost spot involved with it. But man, you have, and I want to touch on it, and I appreciate you spending some time with me on the business side, because I think it's important. I think it's super important. I get a lot of questions on this, and I think you have such an insight and knowledge on what it takes to grow a business, what it takes to sell one, and you've done that, and then what it takes to, to your point, just be a kind human, right? And the entire time, and I think we've both been humbled in life to then go, let's just be kind humans and see where that gets us. And I think both of us would say that over the past 15 years, we've been different people together, and also to our spouses, to our families, to our people around us, just from what we used to be, right? I think it's easy to step on people. The soft skills are the hard skills. Yeah. And I think being a kind person and just having fun, I love life so much better. Yeah. I mean, I really do.
Yeah, and people get caught up, being more in the corporate world now, but kind of not having to, but being around it, titles seem to matter a lot. And the title that's always mattered most to me in reflection is the title of human being. Yeah. What are you going to do with your title? Because we all share that title. Yeah. We're all blessed with life. Our title is human being. What if it starts there, right? And what do we do there? Now, professionally, entrepreneurship and talking to people about building a business and all those good things, right? Yeah. I don't care if you have a passion, you want to bake cookies on the side and develop a brand and sell them, or you want to become a massive conglomerate, or anything in between on the spectrum. It doesn't matter. Everybody I talk to in our industry, I say the same thing to all of them. If you're a 1099 employee, if you're essentially self-employed, right? You need to see yourself as a small business owner from day one. Mm-hmm. Because if you're in your 20s and you're getting into this, if you see yourself as a small business owner, then you own that business. You're essentially an army of one, right? It's you Inc., it's you Incorporated. So what are you going to do with that now that you know that? And so you start to teach people to be able to operate from a mindset of profit and loss, expense and revenue. Mm-hmm. And you can't just say you need to think about revenue versus expense. That doesn't register. But if you tell them that they're that they're a small business owner, that they're building something to sell from day one. It doesn't matter if you haven't made your first dime. Think in terms of building to sell. Mm-hmm. Be a small business owner, and you start to think about things like EBITDA that I couldn't spell back in the day. Nobody told me those things. Looking back, I tell everybody those things. And if you're a W-2, that's fine too, right? But if you have a job you like, you're never working. Right? And so it doesn't matter. There's a lot less pressure or stress with that one, right? But if you want to try and build something of your own on the side, take on that second full-time job. I mean, to me, if you work 8 hours a day. I sleep about 5, maybe 6, right? If I'm lucky in increments. But honestly, even if you sleep 8, you got another 8 hours a day. Well, you have a second full-time job building your own dream. How about dedicating 5 hours to it? Just watch Cops a little less every day, right? And stop wasting your time.
Yeah.
You don't have to be crazy about it or fanatical, but just be logical about it.
No, it's a great piece of advice. Think about it from that perspective. Like you said, incorporate from day one. Think about what that means, and it really does. It changes your perspective on it. And I wish I would have known a lot of this stuff growing up and throughout that career early on. But I just had the advantage of learning from guys like yourself and these other guys that were coming in from Texas. Everybody that came in had a different job. So as a guide, I was able to pick the brains of people that were in the mortgage business, the insurance business, and by the way, some of these guys were flying in private jets, right? And they're landing on private jets, and I'm going, okay, you've obviously done something. I need to figure out what you've done to fly in on a private jet. And that was something that was like registering with me back then. And it wasn't about getting my own private jet. It was about the fact that they had the freedom to do that, which means they've done something to get that freedom. That was more important to me than the actual physical asset, to be clear. I mean, yeah, I'd love a jet, but at the end of the day, I'd love the freedom. I'm not a big, we got to go fly private. But the freedom to say I can do that, that's more important to me.
So it's a great point. My mom was incredibly supportive of all my outdoor passions throughout life, and I'm thankful forever to her for that. And of course, my dad, it's a given. That was our thing, and still is to this day. I think about. I was guiding after the service when I first got into the insurance industry. My passion was always the outdoors.
Yeah.
So I was guiding duck hunts, and I was guiding wild boar hunts. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to be a guide. And I remember, this is why I'm telling you this. It's not an accident you're not a guide anymore, or am I? It's not because we weren't great at it. You were phenomenal, and you made it fun, right? And I know I did the same for a lot of the folks I took. But at the end of the day, my dad caught on to it. He said, look, Mike, you can be a guide. And you'll always be hunting. You'll always be in the outdoors. But when you get into your mid-40s, you're going to start to ache, hurt, break down. He said, have you ever thought about being the client? Because your passion is to hunt. So have you thought about being the client, not the guide?
Very interesting.
And I said, it's interesting. And he said, look, if you can do something where you're your own boss and you can get to a point, it'll open up those opportunities for you. You should seek to be the client, not the guide.
That's very, very interesting, man. That's such a great way to put it.
Yeah, at the time, I think I was 24, and it sounded like this, Charlie Brown, But I do think subconsciously it planted itself. But I do think the seed planted, because I never forgot that, and subconsciously I was driven to that, and obviously. You were a guide, I was a client, but you've long since moved beyond all that too, and done some amazing things. But it's just, and for hunting, whatever your passion is, for me, my passion was hunting. I never thought about being able to go on the types of hunts and the number of hunts and the places I've hunted. And what they've done to me mentally, physically, emotionally, professionally, experience-wise, I never dreamt that big. But through being my own boss and continuing to stay the course in hard work, all of a sudden you start to check. You start to hit these levels. I got a new car. I got a new house. I tell everyone, look, write it down. Don't worry about it. Okay, it's not greed, and you're not selfish. In fact, if you have people around you telling you that, shut them down because they're afraid of your success, because they're afraid to take their steps. So if you succeed, they should have, right? If you fail, it validates their inability to take that step.
I agree.
And so you should succeed because maybe you encourage them to take that step, right? So get those things you think matter, those materialistic things out of the way, and then what's opened up to you are all of these other things, and there you go.
Yeah, no, that's incredible, and you've been able to take it to a whole new level. You're on a mission, and it's been incredible to watch.
Mission of life.
But there's a specific mission that it's really, really hard to accomplish, and for those of you that don't know, it's the North American 29.
It is the North American 29. Bush beer okay if I open one more? Would they be okay?
Yeah, no, Bush Light is absolute. Bush lattes here are encouraged.
Yes, I appreciate that.
Cheers. Cheers, buddy.
Cheers to the North American 29.
The North American 29. So let's give our listeners a little bit of background here on the North American 29. This is something you've been working on for a very long time, but did you set out to do it, or did you realize at some point, you know what, I've had all these adventures, I'm getting close now, and you're real close right now. You're within one or two?
Yeah, I think there's 3 more.
3 more. Mm-hmm. So you have 3 more, and give everybody an insight of the North American 29 and what it takes to do that.
Yeah, and if if I may, I wasn't in pursuit of it. I had no idea what it even was. I technically, I guess, being in the great continent of North America my entire life, growing up with black-tailed deer at 12 years old as a starter in Northern California, I guess I've been in pursuit of the North American 29 unbeknownst to me all my life, right? Yeah. Being an outdoorsman or a hunter, conservationist. And really what got me was Transamerica, as an insurance company, their CEO invited me on a fishing trip, and it was up to, it was up in Manitoba. It was a fly-in fishing trip. It was incredible. I bought a magazine on the way home coming back from Canada, and it was, I don't even remember what magazine it was, but on the cover was a stone ram, a stone sheep.
Oh, a stone sheep. Yeah.
And this thing with that white and the charcoal and the golden horns, it just looked at me from the shelf, and it said,
Robert Goulet.
It said, come get me.
Yeah.
Come see where I live.
Yeah.
It spoke to me. Yeah. And I didn't know what it was. I had no idea, but it just kept looking at me. And so I went to SCI, and I went and found out what a stone sheep was, booked a stone sheep hunt, and I found out there's something called the Grand Slam. But the stone sheep hunt, the first one I went on, I actually didn't get a ram. I got a mountain goat, I got a great Canadian moose, but I did not get a ram, and it ended in heartbreak. Mm-hmm. I quit on day 9. I speak to groups now, and I talk about what's called day 9. It's the day you quit. Mm-hmm. I had the guide take a picture of me because I wanted to see what I looked like when I truly quit. Oh, wow. I'd never quit anything, so I wanted to know what my face looked like. Now, for 9 days, I rode horses 2, 3, 4 hours a day. You know what that's like.
Yeah.
And then you climb 2 or 3 hours to get into waterfall basins, and it's the rule of 3. You got 3 anchored before you let one go. And you get there, and there's nothing. Beautiful views, amazing. It was frozen 5 minutes ago. It's awesome. But at the end, I was duct taping, not my heels from blisters, but the sides of my feet, which I had never had to do.
Yeah, they're like camelbacks. Those giant brutal blisters.
Yeah. Great tip, by the way, if you're a hunter and you sheep hunt. When you take that water bottle, just take duct tape and wrap it around the water bottle, because you're going to want to travel light, and you don't want bandages or gauze or any of that. It comes right off, but that duct tape is fantastic, right? And so I was done, and it was interesting because that night I laid in my sleeping bag, and I thought to myself, when I wake up tomorrow, I wake up a quitter or not. And I'll never forget that I quit, and with that, I didn't, whatever else was about to unfold for me, however close to whatever was next I was, it's never going to happen. I'll never know. No. And it killed me to not know. So I woke up on day 10, and I went after it, and I went after it hard. I wrote in my journal, I'm going to finish strong. It's not even about the ram. It's about family. It's about, your mind gets so reset on those things. It's the greatest reward ever.
We call it disconnect to reconnect.
Yeah.
Right? That is that's one of the things. You disconnect, and then all of a sudden, boom, every feeling's back.
Brilliant. Yeah. Absolutely right. And so I went back the next year, got a ram, had an adventure. We actually barely survived coming back. Probably shouldn't have. And the little raft we tried to get, it flipped, and we tied I put my rifle on my shoulder, slung it over me. The guy tied the ram horns to his waist with a rope, because those are the 2 things we could lose if we had to swim for it, and I didn't want to lose, right?
Yeah.
And so sure enough, all that happened, and we made it, and the rest was history. But he sent me the broken oar lock and everything else in the mail a little while later. Cool. And but to go back. So the Grand Slam, there's 6 rams.
And that's a feat in itself. I mean, that is an incredible feat. That's the only hunt that I've ever been on that I cried and wept like a baby, and I didn't shoot. Casey, I was with Casey when he was on. We were at 7,000, 8,000 feet. I mean, it was right at the tip top in the Yukon doing our thing. When he pulled the trigger on that hunt, I wept. I wept. I really did. I mean, like, it was an amazing moment of just sitting there weeping. I had so much respect for the animal. I had so much respect for the terrain. And at the same time, I had just been on probably the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. And I did it. I surpassed what I thought I could do.
You can prepare physically, and you do, for those hunts.
You have to.
Hardcore.
Yep.
But you can never prepare mentally, because man plans and God laughs, right? And nature's going to do what she's going to do, and you're there for a short time, and she doesn't care. Yep. And it's all so intimidating and huge and overwhelming, but it's so much a part of how incredible life is. And so, it helps. It has helped me mentally understanding that for flight delays or things we get caught up in professionally or personally. It's like, really, I mean, come on, it's going to move through, and it's not as bad as it seems, and you'll figure it out. But the Grand Slam of North American sheep was cool because you have the Doll, the Stone, the Rocky Mountain, and the desert, and it takes you down into the Sonoran Desert of Mexico, where it's could be 100 degrees, right? It's mountainous. It takes you for the Doll sheep to Alaska, or the Canadian Yukon, the Alaskan Yukon. For the Stone, right, northern BC. For the Rocky Mountain, numerous places, but each one's a little bit different, and each place is a little bit different, and each experience is quite a bit different. So the Grand Slam was something I wanted to accomplish after I got into ram hunting. And then it was just about going on hunts that I like, whether they be New Zealand, been, right, or caribou, things like that you love. For me, someone said randomly, and I'll finally get around to answering your question. Someone said randomly to me, well, you must be close to the North American 29. And I said, 29 what? And they said, the North American 29. I said, I'm not a box checker. I do things that appeal to me, and then I have a great experience, and whatever happens. Like, the animal lures you there, but it's never the end-all, be-all of the experience. It's the experience itself once you're there. And so, for me, the North American 29, I looked at it, and sure enough, I had a lot of them, and I thought, what an amazing continent we live on. From the high Arctic, where it's minus 60, and how those people live up there, and their culture and tradition, and how amazing they are.
They're incredible.
All the way through our great United States of America, and then down into the southern Sonoran Desert, and how hot it is there. That's North America. And these 29 animals represent from the highest of North America to the southernmost part of North America, and everything in between. They represent cultures, the people you interact with, the terrain, the environment, the climate. And I thought to myself, having been able to hunt in Europe and Australia and New Zealand and Africa and different places, right here, our continent, in my humble opinion, is by far and away the best.
I think it's amazing.
For wildlife and for game and for the cultures you interact with from top to bottom. And so I decided when I was that close, I'd like to finish it. And for all of us that have attention span issues, I'd like to write a compilation of short stories about it, right? And I actually call it Accidental Quest, Amazing Pursuits.
There you go.
And just one lucky kid's experience in pursuing the North American 29 without even knowing you had to. And so each one is going to each animal touches on, where was it? Like for the black-tailed deer, you can do it right outside of Napa. So bring your wife. Do some wine tasting. And then have an incredible black-tailed deer.
Which I'm in favor of.
Yeah, of course. So it's really, whether it's about the people there, the challenge of the hunt, both physically or mentally or both, political ramifications, misrepresentations around some of these animals, things like the polar bear. It's just so misrepresented. There's plenty of them. There's so many of them, and they're managed so incredibly well up there.
Was that Nunavut that you were in Nunavut?
Yeah, it was in Coral Harbor in Nunavut, and they have a native biologists with a master's in biology from the lower provinces, but they also have biologists with a master's in biology from the lower provinces up there as well.
Okay.
They study the animals, they look at the food source, they do understand the ice can, it doesn't stay frozen as long, but it's not some dramatic thing. And the seal and all of their food sources are doing fine. So they allot tags every year for these people. And in that community of 900, they allotted 44 polar bear tags the year I was there.
Wow.
Because that's what it takes to continue to manage that species correctly and not let them get overpopulated. And there's so many more left after that happens.
I can only imagine. And it's got to help the community up there. I mean, just in that community, the dollar that's coming in, the resources, what everybody's spending. I mean, that's all part of it. And it's got to put a jolt into the Nunavut community.
They are the most awesome people.
Yeah, incredible.
I've been fortunate to go there 4 different times for different things and at different times of the year. And some are more favorable than others depending on how much clothing you have to wear.
Exactly.
But
So
ultimately, when I harvested my boar, my polar bear, just a amazing animal. He was on a walrus kill on the beach. And the escape for him, if he was going to do one of two things. We got out of the wind. It was amazing to see his giant head swing around from a mile and a half away. Because he could semi-wind us with it quartering off our shoulder.
Okay.
So we got inland, and we're going along, and the Arctic is, the rocks is the shoreline, but there's enough fold to crouch and go. And once we had the wind in our favor, he could care less. He was back on his walrus kill and right on the shore. And so we got close. We knew we were close. And my guide, Danny, he goes... he's an Inuit native, great guy. And so he says, I think we're getting close. Let's look. And so he stands up, and he came to about here on me. So he stands up, and he's looking this way. And I stand up and look, and I'm looking, and I turn here, and 60 yards away, here's this giant head swinging around, this polar bear. And I'm like, right there. And he goes, wow, go get him. He's the one.
He's it.
Like me, go get him. And so, you crawl up there, and it's interesting because I found out later, once I exposed myself to him, you have a second to make the shot. And they're going to do one of two things. They're going to run right at you, or they're going to run away. Right?
There's not much time for decisions.
It's one or the other. And for them, you can't talk them out of one or the other. It's done. And so I was fortunate it all came together, and I said he was taken off, and he goes, he was going to go into the Arctic. He would have swam 5 miles out, and he would have just sat there and watched until he determined whether it was safe to come back or not.
Got it.
So all the bears people have hunted in North America, how many of them have an escape route of just diving into the ocean and swimming 5 miles like a dolphin and just hanging out?
And just waiting.
And the coming back, every single piece of that beautiful animal was taken back. There were 7 different baggies with different samples, whether it's the liver, the tongue, the penis bone, all those different things. And all of that goes back to the biologist for study. They measure everything, you name it. But the coolest part is that community, and I think it's in us here, but I feel like with Be Alive and some of the things you're doing are so cool because I think we've lost touch with some of that. The first thing they did is put out the word that a polar bear was harvested. And then they went to the elders' homes and gave them their share of polar bear meat.
Okay.
And so then Danny asked me, we had shared snacks. My wife prepared some snacks for me. Ange always puts trail mix together and love notes. So my deal is I get the notes, you get the M&Ms, right?
Got it.
And so we're sharing that on the shore, but his wife made sandwiches. So here you are in the Arctic, middle of nowhere. And you're trading food that your wives have made for you to go out on the hunt. And you just can't almost explain that feeling. So he invited me over, and we had polar bear the next day, and it was actually quite good. And then flying out on the little bush plane that gets you out of there off the sand, there's about 10 people on the plane. But one lady was she was an elder, and she had, almost no teeth left and had lived a great life, I'm sure. And as I'm getting on the plane, she grabs me, and she says, "You hunter that shoot polar bear?" I said, "Yes, ma'am, I am." She said, "Oh, thank you." Hugs me and says, "I love polar bear meat. Now we are good for the winter."
That's awesome.
They share. They take care of their elderly first, like we should take care of our veterans first, and they go from there.
Yeah. No, that's incredible, man. That's an amazing story. I think that entire, when you say it brings it together culturally, people, I think back at the things and people that I've met in the most random locations. Like, what else is going to bring you two together to share food in the like? It just doesn't happen unless you're there in the outdoors and you're doing something with a passion together, and then all of a sudden, like, these things happen. And until you've experienced it, it's really hard to explain to someone who hasn't. Like, if you haven't experienced that, you need to. You don't need to go on a polar bear hunt. No. You need to experience what it's like to push yourself and do something like that, or go into that culturally and just go off grid, disconnect to reconnect in certain areas. What it's like to be at 9,000 feet, it's incredible. What it's 7,000, 8,000 when you've just put in 9 hours on a hike for a sheep, and you get to the top and you go, they're right over they just went over another one, and you got to go again. Like, that's the war, and you got to sleep on the mountain, and then you don't know what's going to happen. Is it going to snow tonight? You have no idea. But boy, is it mental.
And it's mental. What? You always end up knowing you can do it. Yeah. Because you did it.
You did it. Exactly. Yeah, it's incredible, man. Well, it's amazing watching your journey and kind of in that search for the North American 29, the accidental search, if you will. Like, you did it out of passion, and the next thing you know, you've just kind of had this racked up all the numbers, and all of a sudden you're like, well, I guess I am close. But it wasn't something that you set out and said, like, this is what I'm going to do. But it's an amazing feat. The Grand Slam of Sheep is an amazing feat. I know as we kind of think forward on what's going on, I know obviously with Be Alive, there's a passion that I have. You have a passion as well, and you mentioned it just a second ago, which is the veterans. I think we both have a passion for the military, for the veterans, and especially wounded veterans. And I've seen you do some incredible work with our wounded veterans and what you do, taking them on hunts and all those things. And I love getting the FaceTimes from being there, and I always say hi to the guys, and there's always some sort of like really cool deal. So what's the plan with your veterans, and what's going on, and what organization are you working with? And let's tell the people what you got going on there, because it's imperative.
Wow. Yeah, thanks for recognizing that. It's just an honor. You know, the group I associate with is Operation Cherry Bend. They're out of Wilmington, Ohio. It's Matt and Beth Ellis, and they've just opened up their 5,500 acre farm, and they live for our wounded combat veterans, and they put on 3 or 4 events a year. They do one big one in September. You know, we did skydiving with them. There's a bass fishing tournament with them. There's music around the campfire every night. You get some really good artists that come in there, and they just hang out and play till 3 or 4 in the morning. All of these things. We do some nice driven pheasant shoots for them, and you have to think with our wounded combat veterans, everybody who serves is saying during that time frame, I'm willing to do whatever is asked of me for the greater good. And these are the ones, double amputees, a lot of missing limbs.
They've been through it.
A lot of things, right? I mean, these people, we all think we had it tough at some point in the service, right? And we did. Nothing like these folks, right? And the hardest thing I see for our wounded combat vets is what a lot of people don't realize is you see a missing limb. Yeah. But what you don't realize is when that event happened, they watched 2 of their brothers die, on average. Okay. Right? And so it's not like, not only do I have the physical scar, but it's the emotional scars that get them. Yeah. And I can tell you that these guys and gals are just like you and I. They grew up with a passion for the outdoors. They're normal. They're fine. They don't want to be seen for what you look at. Yeah. They just want to be in the outdoors again. They just want to have fun again. They just want to have fellowship again. And so it's so wonderful to dedicate time and some resources to that, but it doesn't hold a candle to what Matt and Beth do. I mean, they give their all to this, and it's as important to them to facilitate these opportunities and put these things together as it is for them to run their family farm. It's that important, and that's what it takes to honor our veterans, and especially our wounded combat veterans, for all the ways that we should.
Well, it's incredible what you're doing, the work you put in, Operation Cherry Bend. You know, I've seen the pictures, you've sent me things. I've been traveling, we've been trying to figure out a time for me to come.
I'm getting you there.
I know, and I really want to get there, and I really want to spend the time. It's an incredible thing that you guys are doing. So mad props out to Operation Cherry Bend and what you're doing with our wounded combat veterans. Full support for me. I love everything about our veterans, and I have some of my best friends and people that I know are in the military and absolutely respect it. So they don't get the credit that they should. And they once, like you said, they signed up and said, I'll serve for you. And I think that's a lifelong thing. And for us, we need to serve them back. So anything we can do, I think, is important. You should look into it and give where you can, take them when you can. Yeah, you're right. I think most of the people that I know, they just want to be seen as another person trying to do fun things, right? And that's important that we treat them that way.
You're exactly right. And you know, it's interesting. It doesn't matter whether you agree or disagree with the particular conflict, or whether we went and engaged or didn't. None of that matters at this point. It's not about that. It's about them. It's about normalcy, because they're still just you and I, man. I mean, we get in the woods and there you go. And actually, Larry has become a good friend, and he's on Cabela's commercials of all things. He's fly fishing in a stream, and there he is with his, legs, his
new
legs.
His new
He's
legs.
Definitely not cold. And doesn't need waders.
He doesn't need waders. He's got his new legs.
And he'll tell you. He'll be the first one to tell you.
I was going to say, and he would laugh about that too.
Absolutely.
He would love every bit of that. So, and that's what I find too, is they have an amazing sense of humor. They're our veterans about this, and they just want to have fun. So, if you can get involved with that, I think it's incredible. So thanks again for what you're doing there. Man, we've covered a lot in when you and I could sit and talk for hours, which we're gonna do. So we've got a turkey hunt that we're gonna go do, and we'll keep you posted on what happens there. But Nacho Libre, we have had some fun together, man. Is there anything else you wanted to cover while we got you here? Is there anything else you wanted, any other stories you wanted to go through or talk about?
Did we start yet?
I know. I don't even know how long it's been, but I guarantee. How long has it been, guys? 1:17. An hour and 17 minutes. We sat there and had a conversation, and it felt like it was about 15 minutes.
Yeah, so. My gosh, man, all the fun I've had with you, all the memories, all the future ones, our wives, Napa, Florida, the things we're blessed to have and to do. And I would just say this, when you told me about Be Alive, the Be Alive, and what you were doing, it really put a lot of things into focus for me, because everything all of us do is about being alive.
Yes.
We're alive today. We have no guarantee that that'll be the case tomorrow. We are guaranteed that there'll be a day where we're not anymore. And it's such a blessing. Why? I mean, you don't run around like a goofball, right? But why not make the most of it and just enjoy the ride every day and realize you don't really control as many things you think you do.
I totally agree, man. Be alive to me is an energy. It's palpable. You can feel it when you're alive. For me, it's in situations like this. It's in the outdoors. For you, it's hunting, it's sheep, it's working with the veterans, the combat veterans. That is be alive. That's your energy, because everybody has it. It's just different for everybody. And what I think we have to get used to saying is it's okay to be different, and it's okay to have that. Like, people think you have to be this, you have to be that. You don't. You just have to be you, period. End of story. And if you find the thing that makes you be alive, do it to the fullest extent, and you will have a good time in life. That's what I found out. Find it, find the passion, and go all in, right? And that's what Be Alive is. It's that energy that you can feel. And I feel it in you. I feel it when we have a conversation. When you're around, there's an aura about it, and I really appreciate you, everything you've done for me in the past, everything you've taught me. now we get to, I guess, sit back, have a glass of wine or 4, and go turkey hunting in the morning because we just got permission on a new piece of property that I can't wait to take on.
Yes, you secured that one for us. Great job, buddy.
It's going to be a good one, man. Mr. Mike, appreciate it, man. Thank you so much.
my friend.
Great convo.
Love you, brother.
Love you too, man. Thanks, guys.
Great
Cheers.
job.
Cheers, everybody, and we'll see you next time on the Be Alive podcast.
It's my last night in Texas. Now I'm on the run, got my life, got my gun, got my picture.